Hello and welcome to Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio. This is Stefan, your host, British by birth, American by choice. The Founding Fathers crafted some remarkable documents that led to the creation of a great country founded on liberty and self-reliance. I have lived in the Euro-socialist nightmare, and I'm doing what I can to return this country to the vision that the Founding Fathers gave us. We need to strive to rebuild that shining city on the hill, for without us, the world has nowhere to turn for freedom. For the next hour, I will be presenting news, views, and guests that help keep the true spirit of America alive. And here we go again. This is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately, welcoming you to another episode of Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, episode 316 as we go. And what an interesting evening this evening. Super Tuesday the 3rd. And I think we'll have to rename it to Trump Tuesday. Although I know Hillary won't be too happy about that. But Trump Tuesday, a very decisive win for Trump. We'll do a little bit of the analysis and kind of see what it means for Trump and for the other candidates going forward. But I think, yes, Trump basically did a lot better than even he expected and any of the pundits. So a little bit of analysis there, and then I think we just have to get to some other topics because there's not much to be said. The big thing, of course, will be 1 week further. So every time we get to one, we should say, well, maybe it'll be over now, but it's not. But the Trump train just keeps on rolling. And while he hasn't sewn it up yet, he's getting closer. So we need to see what happens next. And, of course, next is going to be Indiana and then on to California and New Jersey. But let's first of all, before we look at the future, let's look at what happened tonight. As I said, it seemed to be pretty much of a blowout. And I'm going to take a look at some of the latest results. I think most of the delegate counts are pretty much in, at least as much as we're going to know right now. There are a number of unbound ones. We'll talk about that as well. Before I do that, just want to say hi to the folks in the chat room, those of you that are listening live. Rex and Paul are already there. Good evening, the two of you. Nice to see you there. And if you're listening live, click on the little speech button in your Spreaker box there, and it will take you to the chat room. And I know Rex and Paul will be chatting about things as we go along, and I will jump in as much as I can, answer your questions and comments. Of course, I want to remind you, if you're listening to one of the rebroadcasts, then you obviously won't be in the chat room, but you can always reach me by sending an email to stefan@patrickcomelately.us or by going to the website www.patrickcomelately.us, typing in your feedback, your comments, your questions, and I will get back to you whether you do it via email, whether you do it via the website. I will get back to you both. I'd like to get back to you directly with an email in return, but also handling your question in a future show. I love to hear from my listeners, so just a reminder there, feel free to do that. Anyway, so Super Tuesday the 3rd, or as some people called it, the Amtrak Super Tuesday, for the fact that, of course, it was a number of states up in the Northeast. What did we have? We had Connecticut, we had Delaware, we had Maryland, we had Pennsylvania, and we had Rhode Island. Those five tonight. And, of course, with them being in the Northeast, Donald Trump was expected to do well. But I don't think anybody expected him to do as well as he did. I think there were a total of 118 votes up for grabs, and Donald Trump looks like he's probably won about 105, maybe even more of those. And that 118 doesn't include a large number of unbound votes, like I said, which I will talk about shortly. So what do we have? So in Connecticut, it looks like Donald Trump has won 28 out of 28. In Delaware, he has won 16 out of 16. In Maryland, he has won, right now, with 81% reporting, 35 out of 38. That means there are 3 there that haven't been allocated yet. Now, Kasich and Ted Cruz are well behind, and they, though in Maryland, have not been awarded any of those 3 unawarded delegates yet. And then we have Pennsylvania, where Trump has 17 of the 71. The 17 are the 17 statewide delegates that he automatically gets awarded. The rest, the 54, are unbound, but in most cases they have agreed to vote in a certain way. So he's going to get a large number of those 54 as well. And finally, in Rhode Island, we have 15 of the 19 awarded. In Rhode Island, while Donald Trump did do very well there, and also, like all the other states, had close to or over 60% of the Republican vote. Right now, he's looking at 9 out of the 19 delegates. John Kasich has won some of the districts there, so he has 5. And guess what? Ted Cruz also has 1 delegate. So tonight was not a complete bust for Ted. So I hope he'll be happy with that 1 delegate that he may get. Now, he may get 1 or 2 more. We'll have to wait and see as further tallying comes in. I'm not sure why, and I was just looking at the results here. They're saying that 100% of the precincts have reported, but they're not giving the total allocation of those 19 delegates. So I don't know what's going on there. I guess there's some more calculations, maybe some GOP party shenanigans going on before those final delegates get awarded. But anyway, most people were expecting Trump to get over 90 delegates today, and said anything over 100 would be unbelievable. Well, he got 105, and that is very definitely unbelievable. All of the vote counts were close to or over 60%. Definitely all of them were over 55%. I think the lowest was about 57%. So also yet another... no, I see Maryland. He only had 54, so he just 54.98, so just at 55%. So that looks like the lowest that he had again, which is I would say almost pretty much nobody expected that. Now, big question: is it enough? And does he have the momentum going into the remaining primaries? What do we have in the short term? Obviously, next Tuesday we'll have Indiana, so that's going to be fun. Next week's show we'll be looking at that. A week later we have Nebraska and West Virginia, and then a week later we have Oregon. So those are the next three coming up. A couple of those, Fox News is reporting they're expecting it to go to Cruz, although, of course, the fact that he didn't do so well here, I wonder what impact that might have on people in those states. So the big question is Indiana. Can he win that? It is a winner-take-all state. And then on to California and New Jersey. And they were doing calculations on Fox News right now, and they said with a kind of conservative calculation of the number of delegates, bound delegates, that Donald Trump could get right now with the 105 he got today, expectations for the other states, including probably winning Indiana, and then California and New Jersey. New Jersey is winner-take-all, I believe. California is not, but winning a significant number in California. That right now, they're estimating he would end up about 22 shy, so about 1,210 or 11 delegates, bound delegates, going into that first round vote. Not bad, but shy of 1,237. But, what about the 54 in Pennsylvania? Most of those people have said one of two things. I wouldn't say all of them. So either they were voted in as being people who said they will vote in the first ballot for Trump, and Trump was handing out cards. I saw them online which listed the people that promised to vote for Trump in the first ballot. So they are basically Trump supporters. And a number of those 54 are people who've said they'll do that. We don't know exactly how many. Again, on Fox News, I think Bill Hemmer said he was looking down the list and kind of trying to relate the names to Donald Trump's list to the ones that actually got elected. And he counted about 25, he said. But also in that 54 are a large number who have promised their voters, their electorate, have promised that they will go with the winner of the congressional district. Now, this is another thing. If you look at the maps that they brought up, Trump, except for Rhode Island, won every single district, I think, in every single state. County, not congressional district. But if you win the county, you're going to win the congressional district. Maybe Pennsylvania, he didn't win all of them as well. But Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, but the other three, Connecticut, Maryland, Delaware, just totally Trump out and out. And people say he's not electable. Interesting. So if we take those 54 and let's be conservative, right? Bill Hemmer said he counted about 25. Now, I think he said those were ones who said they would vote for Donald Trump. But let's be cautious. Let's say these are people who've said they would vote for the winner of their congressional district, or they've said they will vote for Donald Trump. If he finishes at 12-11 with bound delegates, and then he gets 25 of these unbound delegates, well, he needs a bit more than 25. So if he gets 27, but let's say 30 of those 54, he's home. Now, what we forget is that there are quite a number of other unbound delegates, including the GOP equivalent of superdelegates, although there are not a lot of those. There are not as many as in the regressive side of the whole primary thing, but there are some. Are you really saying that each and every party boss or party person that's been given one of these superdelegate votes, or other states that have unbound delegates, are going to look at these results and say, I am definitely not going to vote for Trump. And there will be some areas that they will, because they've been basically co-opted by Ted Cruz. But even amongst those, if I were Ted Cruz, I would be lobbying hard, because they're going to be those who are looking at the writing on the wall and going to say, you know what? I'm not going to vote for Ted Cruz after all, because it's very obvious that Donald Trump is the one that the people want. And many of these people, their vote at the convention is open, is known. So people can look it up, and when they go back to their state, and if they're a district leader or something like that, and someone comes along and says, you didn't vote for who the people wanted, so we're going to challenge you in the next election, that's not something that people want. So anyway, so it's going to be interesting. It's also going to be interesting because I have to take a commercial break, especially for you, Mary. I see that you've joined us in the chat room. Nice to see you as well, Mary. And as I said, especially for you, commercial break.
You can lose 10, 20, 30 pounds or more with Maximum Slim's first ever rapid weight loss guarantee. Today, you get Maximum Slim, an advanced fat and carb blocker, absolutely risk-free. The all-natural ingredients in Maximum Slim are a powerful weight loss combination. The Maximum Slim formula turns your body into a fat-burning furnace that supercharges your weight loss. Advanced fat and carb blocker stops the breakdown of sugar so your body doesn't store it as fat. Today, you'll get both of these products absolutely risk-free with no obligation. Only pay shipping. There are no expensive meal plans or exhausting DVDs. Just take Maximum Slim twice a day. It's fast, simple, and now it's guaranteed. Look, you can start losing weight today or not. Go back to your high school days and wear your favorite jeans again. Guaranteed. Call now and get both weight loss formulas free. Call 800-451-0228. 800-451-0228. That's 800-451-0228.
Doc, you gotta give it to me straight.
All right.
'Cause I'm dying here. I mean, take a look at this letter from the IRS.
Oh, my.
This is killing me, Doc. I tell you, it's killing me.
Cheer up, my friend.
Huh?
The tax doctor is here. My diagnosis tells me that you're going to be just fine.
Really?
The tax doctor will not rest until we find you the best possible tax settlement.
Really, Doc?
Guaranteed.
If the IRS claims you owe them $10,000 or more in business or personal back taxes, call a tax doctor right now. We could save you up to 75% if you qualify. Guaranteed or you pay nothing. Call right now for free details.
800-917-8546. 800-917-8546. 800-917-8546. That's 800-917-8546.
Do you have pain from arthritis in your knees? It's no wonder. Osteoarthritis affects 1 in 2 adults. That's 50% of us in our lifetime will suffer from arthritis knee pain. If you're covered by Medicare or within 90 days of turning 65, we can help relieve your knee pain. Call right now and see how you can get a pain-relieving knee brace at little or no cost to you. 800-296-1257. 800-296-1257. At the Health Alert Hotline, we have consultants ready to help you learn how an easy-to-wear knee brace can help stop the pain so you can be active again. And after we work with Medicare to get you approved, you can get our high-quality pain-relieving knee brace at little or no cost to you. Call the Health Alert Hotline right now for free shipping and to learn more. 800-296-1257. 800-296-1257. That's 800-296-1257.
This is Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, coming to you live via the internet, via rebroadcast on WRSDB, the Red State Talk Radio Network, or from the recordings at archives.patrickcomelately.us. And thanks for sticking with me through that break, folks. We were talking about the results, and in the break, in the chat room, everyone seems in agreement that Donald Trump is pretty much the presumptive GOP nominee. As I was saying, the math beforehand, it's going to be close in terms of bound delegates, but I think it's going to come down to the unbound delegates. They're enough. I think if you take the GOP's equivalent of superdelegates plus others, it's somewhere between 150 and 300 delegates are not bound yet. If Trump only gets a third of those, right, that's 100. If it's 300, if it's 150, it's still 50 delegates. If he only gets a third of them, right, because they're all people who, or a lot of them hate Trump with a passion, still a third of them, I'm sure, is going to be enough to push him over the top together with his bound delegates. He doesn't need to get 1237 in bound delegates, because don't tell me that all of the unbound delegates are going to vote for other people than Trump. So it'll definitely make for very interesting TV when they have that first roll call at the convention. But yeah, and as Rex was saying in the chat room, 5 million more votes than Romney received at this time. But the big question then is, so if he is the presumptive nominee, looks as if he's going to make it. Been getting all these large numbers, but now let's look at other analysis. Even though he did very well in Pennsylvania tonight, he still got less than Hillyer got in total. Right, so the Democrats coming out to vote for her in bigger numbers than for Trump. Right, I think 1 million to 800,000. That's a big gap to bridge. Now, I think all of the states in these in today's Super Tuesday, the third evening, were closed primaries. That means you have to be registered. That means the independents were not voting. So what difference does that make? Are they going to break for Trump? And when it's been open primaries where anybody can vote, the exit polling seems to indicate that, yes, he does have a lead there. Plus, when it comes to the general election, right, if you're a Democrat in the primary, it's a closed primary, you can only vote in the Democrat primary. So if you're a blue-collar worker who's a registered Democrat and have been for many, many years, you have to go and vote in the Democrat primary. You can't go to the Republican one. But once the general election comes along, you're not held to that anymore, right? So you can vote whichever way you want. So how many of the Pennsylvania Democrats went and voted for Bernie because they don't like Hillyer, and when the general comes along, they're not going to switch back and go to Hillyer, but they're actually going to switch across to Trump. And that's one where exit polls have shown that there is a lot of dissatisfaction with Hillyer, but also a lot of Democrats who like the sound of Donald Trump's economic issues. And that seems to be one of the biggest issues for both sides of the aisle in terms of the voters. The economy. Immigration is actually a lot lower down there. Remember, that's how Donald Trump ended up starting off. I said ended up, but that's how he started off, in actual fact, with that whole immigration thing and building the wall, which he's still going to do. But the important thing seems to be the economy. Now, I think a lot of people realize building the wall is going to stop cheap labor coming in, which means there's going to be more jobs. So the immigration does tie together a little bit in that way. And I think that he will siphon off a lot of people from across the aisle. On top of that, I think Hillary is not a particularly likable person. And I think there's going to be a lot of minorities who are not going to go out and vote. They may not go and vote for Trump. They don't like him, but they're not going to be energized in the way that they were for King Barry to go out and vote. So they're just going to stay home. And I think Donald Trump actually has a very good chance to beat Hillary, especially once he really starts campaigning against her, which he hasn't really done much to date. Yeah, he started calling her crooked Hillary. People say, "Oh, so rude, crooked Hillary." I think that's actually being polite, right? The bicked witch really deserves much nastier names than crooked Clinton. But anyway, we'll see. So, but before we get there, yes, the next few primaries are going to be interesting. And of course, it's great fun, I think, for us that like watching the politics. Don't you think, listeners, that it's actually quite a lot of fun? How long has it been since it took this long and we still don't know from the primaries who's going to win? I mean, in the past, it was, you had the sort of first 3 or 4 and boom, it was all over. And now, hey, it's going to go down to the wire. It's going to go to California, New Jersey, right? What is that? June 7th. So it's going to go right down to the end of the thing. Isn't that fun? I mean, really. So what else? Well, let's have a new topic, but we'll do that after the break. And there might be some cracks in the wall with regard to Ted Cruz's delegate wins, and I will talk to that after the break. Maybe a little bit of music as well. But before we go to break, just a reminder again: if you're listening to one of the recordings, then please do contact me, Stefan at patrickcomelately.us or www.patrickcomelately.us, where there is a contact form. Click on that contact button, type your message to me, feedback, questions, comments, whatever. Love to hear from my listeners that way. Anyway, folks, here we go. It is time for that commercial break. I will be back after these messages and a sip of my adult beverage.
Patriot come lately. British by birth. American by choice. Just like the Founding Fathers. The voice of the conservative resistance.
Every day, millions of Americans grow more concerned about the future of our great nation. The truth is, over the last century, a small but powerful collectivist movement known as progressivism has debased our politics, our culture, and our currency. We're just a small step from falling into 1,000 years of darkness, as Ronald Reagan warned. Friend, this is Pat Boone with an important free offer on a hot new book called The Great Withdrawal by Craig Smith and Lowell Ponte. This new book explains how we, the people, can end this fatal detour into big government and get back on the path of faith and freedom charted by our founders. Call now for a free copy of the hot new book called The Great Withdrawal.
Call now for your free copy. 800-978-3901. 800-978-3901. 800-978-3901. That's 800-978-3901.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS that you can't pay? Call now for immediate help. At the Tax Relief Line, we help people just like you. If you take on the IRS alone, you could be facing levies, liens, even wage garnishments, personal or business tax issues. If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS, call now and see if you can pay less. They can freeze your bank accounts, even garnish your wages. Call the Tax Relief Line now for immediate help. Our expert team of tax professionals will negotiate your tax problem and deal with the IRS for you. If the IRS is threatening you with levies, wage garnishments, or seizing your assets, call now and see if you can pay the IRS less.
888-789-5043. 888-789-5043. 888-789-5043. 888-789-5043.
This is Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, keeping the spirit of America alive, a proud member of the Red State Talk Radio Network. And this is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately. We're into the second and final half of the show. And just been chatting a little bit in the chat room here, talking about the adult beverage that I mentioned before the commercial break there. I'm actually drinking a Belgian Wit, or many of you will know that as a Blue Moon. Mary said, put an orange in it. Well, she said something else, but she corrected herself. Put an orange into it. Actually, I brew it with a lot of orange, so I don't need to add any orange in mine. And I quite like the taste. Now, I also mentioned in the chat room, I did actually finally crack open the 1 year beer that has been fermenting away since April of last year, and transferred into keg, and I tasted some while I did that. Decided that, yes, it's a very interesting taste, very unique taste, but I don't think it's quite ready. I think it needs what they call bottle conditioning. So I'm going to take it out of the keg, and I'm going to put all of it into bottles, and then keep it for another, I think, 6 to 8 weeks, and then it should then just begin to start being good. And it's a very interesting taste. It's not at all what you would think a beer is like. Very dark brown, very heavy. Because I used raisins, because I used oak soaked in wine in there as well to kind of simulate it being in a barrel. It's got also a little bit of, it does taste a bit like a wine. It's a cross between a beer and a wine. Very, very interesting. But this is not a beer podcast. This is a political podcast. So I think what I'd like to do now is, because I think it was such a good result tonight, I want some nice optimistic music. And I've played this fairly often recently, but I think it really is uplifting. It's, of course, I Am America. Listen to the words. It's how we're going to take America back, and we are going to do that. We're going to make it great again.
You play your games and abuse the system. You
And that is the beautiful Krista Branch, a beautiful singer. And that song, it's a few years old now, but I just, still sends chills down my back when I listen to it. The words are so true, right? I will not give up on this fight. I will not fade into the night. The only thing I would say, it's not I am America, we are America, and united we do stand. And we are going to take our country back, and we are going to make America great again. Whether you like Trump or not, it's our best hope, I'm afraid. And I'll say it again, he's not perfect. But then again, none of the candidates were. And I think he's our best hope. And we'll see what happens. Okay, folks. Let's have a quick new topic. And new topic is, can you believe it? One of the GOP chairpersons, because it's a chairwoman, in Colorado, in one of the Colorado counties, has said there are errors with Ted Cruz's delegate win, and they may need to have a do-over. This is the chairwoman of the Boulder County GOP. Now, if there's ever a liberal part of Colorado, it's probably Boulder County. But she admitted that grave errors had affected the Colorado Republican caucus, in which Ted Cruz had won a clean sweep of 34 delegates without opening up the process to voting by everyday citizens. So apparently there was an email she sent to other top Republican officials in Colorado, including other party chairs, describing the errors in the process that led to the perception of fraud. Reached for comment on the email, she said that the caucus might have to be done over. Now, Breitbart had reported after the caucus on massive voting problems at the caucus, including names of candidates being left off ballots and at least one woman not being able to vote. Just happened, if I remember that story correctly, to be a Trump delegate. But insiders have come forward and told Breitbart about other alleged inconsistencies, including other counties like Pueblo and Mesa counties in Colorado, that led to one county having 20 more ballots and another 20 less. Now, the Trump campaign has said they weren't going to fight this because I think they decided that they're going to get the 1237 that they need on the first vote without Colorado. But it's interesting now that all of a sudden the Colorado GOP itself is saying, yes, there may be errors and we may have to do some of this over again. So, some cracks there in Cruz's castle. Not good for him. I'm not going to go into all the details. Go to Breitbart, read about the different errors that have occurred, but you'll see there are a lot of interesting things that happened. I think, though, the one that troubles me the most, and I do want to mention one, is the fact that ballot counting was perceived to have been done in secret, so there was no way to check whether or not it was done honestly, and by the Secretary of State on equipment from the county where he was the county clerk. And when he did it at the time, he was wearing his orange Cruz shirt. Now, it is a GOP primary, so there's probably no state laws about campaigning, within X number of feet of the voting area. Although here in Georgia, there is. So even when it's a GOP primary, there are still they still applied the same laws that they do for the general elections. So to me, that is bad, the fact that you have people. And to be honest, Trump people had it at some other caucuses as well, where the people were very obviously wearing their candidates' colors. Now, one of the things about that is, of course, to a certain extent, it can be expected at caucuses, but the person wearing a Cruz shirt or a Trump shirt shouldn't be in charge of the counting, because that gives the perception of fraud. Yes, you can have people there because at a caucus you're there to try and convince people to vote one way or the other, which kind of makes caucuses maybe a little old-fashioned, and especially in today's world, is that something you want to do? But, I don't know. Anyway, so who knows? So maybe if they do change the number of delegates from Colorado, that could also hasten Trump towards his 1237. And Mary asks, has there ever been a do-over for something like this? I don't know, but there's always a first time for everything. And probably a last time as well, because I've seen that the Colorado GOP is actually making a lot of noise about moving away from this non-voting, caucus type, small caucus type situation to go to a normal voted type primary. And I think, to be very honest, I understand caucuses, they're historical, and maybe places like Iowa, they are a very traditional way of doing things. But, we're getting some things change, and maybe we need to change that as well. Okay, folks, I see it is time for our final commercial break, especially for you, Mary, and I will be back shortly.
The offer of a franchise can only be made through delivery of a franchise disclosure document. Imagine yourself being a leader in America's fastest growing demographic category. More than 10,000 people a day turn 65, and a large percentage are going to need a helping hand at home or in choosing the right assisted living community. Always Best Care is looking for people who've excelled at everything they've done, but they're seeking a new challenge. Always Best Care is one of the fastest growing companies in this explosive field. We're looking for 25 new franchisees to keep our booming business growing. We'll back you up with the strongest award-winning marketing program in the industry, and we'll provide the special training and support that's fueled our growth to prepare you for this great opportunity. All that's missing is you. Call Always Best Care toll-free at 1-800-643-7508. That's 1-800-643-7508. For Always Best Care, 1-800-643-7508. Call today.
Are you worried about losing your home to foreclosure? If you've been threatened with foreclosure or received legal papers from your bank, you have approximately 30 days to respond. If you do not respond, you could lose your home. You have rights. Act now to protect your rights. You can stay in your home. Many times you can even modify your loan. The bottom line is you can get past this, but you must act right now. Call National Foreclosure Defense right now at 800-296-3006, 800-296-3006. If you've been served by your bank and you're worried about losing your home to foreclosure, now is the time to fight back and save your home. Time is limited, so call right now. 800-296-3006, 800-296-3006. Call the professionals at National Foreclosure Defense right now. 800-296-3006.
This is Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, coming to you live via the internet, via rebroadcast on WRSDB, the Red State Talk Radio Network, or from the recordings at archives.patrickcomelately.us. Okay, folks, we're into the final segment of the show. Time's been flying by, but there's a number of quick topics I want to run through very quickly. Some of these are things that I've actually been holding over from week to week to week, and I do want to get them in front of you, but just maybe in a very shortened form. So, first of all, a scary thing. First it was the IRS, then it was the EPA, now the federal Electoral Commission, yes, the FEC, and Democrats in the FEC cracking down on conservative media, threatening the free press. Yes, the FEC has been, officials at the FEC have voted to punish a filmmaker for distributing a documentary film. This happened to be a conservative documentary, and the FEC voted to punish the maker of a film critical of Barack Obama, called Dreams of My Real Father, a story of Reds and deception, which was distributed free prior to the 2012 election. The Republican commissioner, who had been warning of efforts by her Democrat colleagues to regulate conservative news sites, condemned their votes restricting the filmmaker's speech, warning that they signal an active regulatory effort within the agency to caution press organizations to look over their shoulders and chill the free exercise of press activity. This filmmaker, John Gilbert, was the subject of an FEC complaint claiming he violated reporting rules. Now, why would a filmmaker even have to report movies to any government agency? Gilbert responded by citing the press exemption to the rules, but all three Democrat commissioners voted to deny Gilbert the exemption. Surprise, surprise. Despite the FEC's own general counsel, their own lawyer, recommendation that the film fell under the exemption. Gilbert acted on his own, having no ties to any political groups or parties. Now, liberal filmmakers like Michael Moore have been granted that same press exemption, so why not Gilbert? Well, very simple, because this administration, this regime, is weaponizing government departments and using them to punish conservatives. Folks, very dangerous, very worrying. Next quick topic. A Utah businessman has been indicted for some shenanigans around his business, but as he did so, he actually rocked state and national politics by claiming that the Utah Attorney General, John Swallow, helped him broker a deal with, guess what, Dingy Harry, to make a federal investigation into his company quietly disappear. The businessman he alleged that the price would be $600,000 and claims to have made an initial payment of $250,000 when he still was slapped with the federal lawsuit, and now he wants his money back. Now, very, very interesting. That be interesting to see if anything sticks there. Let's see. I'm not going to talk about bathrooms, although somewhere along the line we have to do that. You've probably heard about the petition because of Target's decision around bathrooms. Let's talk about something else. And remember, what happens in Europe today could happen here tomorrow. Here's some more stupidity from across the pond. The Swedish Environment Minister and Deputy Prime Minister is being criticized for referring to the 9/11 attacks as accidents in a live TV interview. Now, Romson, that's their name, used the term that somebody else from his party who had resigned had faced difficult situations like the September 11th accidents and such. She was asked to explain her words, and she condemned the attacks and told the newspaper that she meant that they brought misfortune to Swedish Muslims. And in Swedish, the word for misfortune and accident are pretty close to each other. But this is not the first time this lady has used words that have raised eyebrows. Recently, she compared the Mediterranean migrant crisis to the Auschwitz death camp. Folks, those lefties over in Europe, I'm just so glad I'm over here. They are just really crazy. Okay, and one final one. So one final topic. Let's see, come on. Putin flexes his muscles and Barry cowers. Yes, Russian attack planes a couple of weeks ago buzzed a couple of US ships exercising in the Baltic. Of course, Russia sees the Baltic as its own private sea, so they don't like that. But these attack aircraft made several low-altitude passes over the ship, including one which a Russian plane assumed an attack profile. Well, folks, let's be very honest about this. Did we do anything? No, we probably picked up the phone and John Kerry used strong words, but did we actually do anything? No. Think about it, folks. In Syria, when the Russians were flying over Syria, and if they came across the border and accidentally, in quotes, flew over Turkish or into Turkish airspace, what happened? One of their planes got shot down. They stopped doing it very quickly. It's what they should have done here. They should have immediately fired up their anti-aircraft missiles. Maybe not shot them off, but just fired them up and had the radars pinging. Those aircraft would have been out there just as quick as you could say. But do they do that? No, they don't do that because they're just too weak-kneed. And talking about weak-kneed, talk about this in a future show, but there are some rumors that there were gunships that were actually in Libya when the Benghazi took place, and that they were refused permission to actually shoot. They were actually in the air at the time. Okay, folks, end of another week. It's been fun again, and it's time to say TTFN and say please come back next week. I had a lot of fun, and next time, Indiana. Thank you for listening to the show. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's topics. Whether you listened live, to a recording, or to a rebroadcast, I appreciate the time you share with me. We need to spread the message of liberty far and wide, so please tell your friends and family about the show. Thank you for helping to keep the beacon of hope burning. This is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately, signing off. God bless America, and remember, L3, long live liberty.